What is going on, everybody? We have officially leaked all the points from Chapter Approved 2018. Not we as in me, but they're all over the internet. You can find them. And I wholeheartedly believe the Adeptus Mechanicus massively win Chapter Approved. Now, I don't know if they're going to win all the events. I also do not care. I'm also only a self-proclaimed expert. I did not play Admech in 7th edition, so I have no memories of what they did or didn't do. I have no idea. Never looked into it. I started them when 8th edition came out, and I've been playing them since. So, for me, they have always been really good. Now, I never followed along with the Facebook groups or the little, like, bandwagon mentality of, like, oh, I need to put, 1,500 points around call and stand still and then wonder why, never win a game has objectives, or, oh, I need to, now that's not working, I need to take 60 Electro Priest and Styges 8 and 6 Dragoons with tasers, and I need to try to win first turn, and then you go second, and then you lose, and you go, this army, it's not good. God, I read that. It's almost poison to be in the Adeptus Mechanicus group on Facebook. The people are terrible. And I'm just assuming. I don't know. But anyway, they complain about everything, and they all make the same list, and they all give the same exact, regurgitated advice. And there's units in this book that I always play, and I've always liked a lot. And they include infiltrators, especially with Mars. I don't usually play Mars, but the infiltrators are really, really good with Mars. We'll get into that. Breachers, which are pretty awesome. They were dirt cheap. Not dirt cheap, but they were pretty cheap, and they had a little bit of close combat, a little bit of anti-vehicle, definitely some anti-heavy infantry. Destroyers were super damaging, but once people get hit with them once, they try to focus on them. Now, I usually would go towards breachers because they were just cheaper than the destroyers, but I like them both a lot. And the Chicken Walker Ballistari, which is the las cannon chicken or the auto cannon chicken, both of them are fantastic. They're so good. I don't think anybody realizes how good it is that you could have 3 chickens, 3 to 6, 1 to 6, but I have 3, so I usually do 3. You could take 3 chickens with 2 las cannons apiece, and for 1 command point, give them +2 to hit. So they hit on 3s, now they hit on 1s. And they reroll 1s because they're Adeptus Mechanicus, and almost our whole army rerolls 1s like all the time to shoot in our shooting phase. So you're hitting on 1s, rerolling 1s, which means even at a -2 to hit Eldar vehicle, you're still only back to hitting on 3s, which is your basic ballistic skill. They're so accurate. Most of the time they're hitting on 1s, rerolling 1s, and yes, I understand the rules. I know 1s fail. The point is, you make yourself immune to even a -1 to hit. It's fantastic. They're so good. They're so accurate. Now, the Dune Crawler is very popular. I almost always take the Icarus array, but the neutron lasers usually the way people go. I've always just felt like the Icarus array is better. I don't know. Maybe the neutron laser's better, but I've rolled too many 1-shots, no hit or failed to wound, and invuln save on a demon vehicle or something, and they just do nothing. So, and I'm not using command points to reroll a D3 shot on a 1, gun. So that's just me. I like the Icarus array. But none of you played these units besides the Dune Crawler. Like, I guess at all. It's like the craziest thing. So they all went down in points. They were all very good. Now, I don't play a lot of competitive play. My best tournament was like a 40-player tournament. I got 7th when I played Mars. And then after that, I've almost always played Lucius or Graia. And I usually just bounce around. I just pick a Forge World and, you know, I go from there. I'm not one on caring too much about what the min-maxed codex can do. But, so Graia has been my jam as of late. I think it's very fun to roll 6s and stay alive. I don't know. It's good times. But, so the Infiltrators are going down in points again, which is fantastic. Now, these guys with Mars. Now, a lot of people don't understand this, but you can take 10 of them. They have 50 shots for that unit of 10. They can deep strike in. You can use Wrath of Mars on them and the stratagem that gives them +1 to hit. Now, they hit on 2s. Do this during the turn that the Cannicle's letting you reroll 1s. So you're hitting on 2s or rerolling 1s with 50 shots. So you know how many times you hit? 50. Like every time. 48 is like the min. It's beautiful. You basically just hit 50 times. Then you roll 50 dice, usually looking for 5s to wound and fishing for 6s to do mortal wounds, and you annihilate full 20 wound marine units, like 10-man Primaris units. It's so devastating how much damage they can do with Wrath of Mars and the +1 hit stratagem. It's fantastic. So they're an awesome unit. And then they have the tasers, so they can jump in, spray death all over a unit over there, and then if there's like a light target, they can charge in and start tasing it. They also are decent at tying up tanks because they have a decent strength, and they get the extra hits with the taser, so that gives them the ability to maybe slip a wound or 2 on the tanks, but also hopefully the tank will, you know, not fly and retreat and not get a shoot, and then if they survive, you still got all these pistols and stuff. So they're a little glassy. They're better with staying alive with Graia, but, you know, what can you do? Another huge bonus, the Breachers, they're going down like... Breachers and Destroyers are going down a lot of points. Now, the Breachers, nobody plays with them, but I do, and I always love them. They're so cool. They have like a 2-up save and cover. I only have 3. I wish I had 9. But they were 120 points for 3. I think they're going to be around like 85 points for 3, possibly. Maybe 90 points for 3 after chapter approved. You can put like a unit of them in cover. They're 2-up armor save, toughness 5, 3 wounds apiece, 2 shots apiece with the heavy arc rifle, which is strength 6, -2, D3 damage, and D6 against vehicles. Now with orcs coming out, Necron vehicles, some Eldar vehicles possibly, there are some toughness 6 and toughness 5 vehicles. Downside being it's only strength 6, so you're wounding like knights on a 5. But they're not that expensive. And they have a little anti-vehicle hand-to-hand weapon, which just gives them that little extra, you know, if somebody brings a dreadnought down in your line, it just gives you that one little extra thing that can maybe slip some wounds in. And if you've played a lot of Adeptus Mechanicus, like I have, there's a problem when things are really all over you. Because usually you dropped if you're Lucius, you drop your priest far away. If you're Mars or anybody else, your infiltrators dropped far away. If you're Graia, like I've been, sometimes your priests are walking, but you're trying to get them away. So when something's messing around in your back area, it's nice to have these guys because they can somewhat fight. They're not the best, but they can fight a little bit. And they're toughness 5. So they're pretty cool. And they're 2-up save. And that's pretty good. And also when the whole army's in cover, they don't even have to be in cover. They just count as being in cover. And they're 2-up save. Another huge win for the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Castellan robots, everybody knows they're devastating. They don't need to be a 6-man unit for like 700 points. Usually like 2 or 3. I only have 4, so that's the most I'll play as a unit of 4. That's like enough usually with Mars. they're definitely strong enough, even in the other Forge Worlds, just with the amount of gunfire they put out. They draw a lot of fire on them. And a big thing is they ignore cover, which they're strength 6, AP 2, 1 damage, and ignore cover. So even if you go second, or if you go first, and they play the stratagem to count as being in cover, they ignore that. And it's like being AP 3. It's very nice. People are probably familiar with them, but just the fact that they added that stratagem where you can put your whole army in cover. We have a lot of things in here that ignore cover. You might want to start spending some points on upgrading it. I never used to do it on the troops. I might start. I'm not sure. I don't have the leaks memorized, but can't remember if that item, I think it was the data tether, the whatever, broad spectrum data, I don't know, whatever the hell it's called. I don't remember if that went down in points. Now, another big one that went down in points is the Trans-Arcubic Rifle, Arquebus, giant sniper rifle. It's the best sniper rifle in the game. Literally, probably, I was dumb. Probably better than the Vindicare Assassin because it's so much cheaper. Now, it went down 10 points. That's crazy. It's only 15 points now. It was 25. It was the price of a las cannon. And now it's 15. Which means for the price of 3 for 45 points is 5 points less than when you used to take units of 5 with 2. Freaking awesome. So good. The points drops on all the units I like. Even the plasma guns on the troops went down. The flamer weapons, the little sidearm extra guns went down. I didn't even mention the fact that the Doom Crawlers it's always been really good. It's a really good tank. 5-up invul and rerolling 1s. Great weapons. I like the Icarus Array. I could see arguments for the Neutron Laser. The other ones, not so much. They go down in points. Like, fantastic. So basically, if you were playing Admech and weren't just spamming the try to win on the first turn or try to curl up around call, you probably get a massive amount of extra points to play with now. And on top of that, even if you were up around call, he went down in points. He's like the only model I don't own for the Admech, so I never play with him. And I usually feel like hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s is plenty. I don't need him there so I can reroll my 2s. Never needed it. But so it's crazy that our Tech Priest Dominus went down in points. All our HQs went down. So awesome. That's one of the hard parts is we had to take a lot of, if we want to get a lot of command points, which we definitely have uses for them, the HQs were kind of the killer because they didn't, they were kind of expensive for taking a lot of them. Now the Tech Priest Dominus is awesome. I always take the Volkite Blaster. It's fishing for mortal wounds on 6s. I think it was the cheaper of the guns anyway. I like to keep them cheap. But he's decent. He can fight a little bit. And he has a reroll 1's aura. He's got a 5-shot pistol. If he gets like in combat with Nurglings or something, he can start clearing them out a bit. He's pretty sweet. And he heals vehicles. And if you played the army a lot, you start to realize, if you remember basically your healing abilities, you can take tanks way back up very quickly all over the board. Even 3-wound breacher models, everything can get healed up, and it's pretty cool. So both, or Call, the Tech Priest, and the Engine Seer all go down in points. The Engine Seer doesn't have to pay for his servo arm anymore, which I would always try and hit people with just for the fun of it because I had to pay 12 points for it. Now it's 0. 12 points. That's almost a free extra sniper rifle. Now our sniper rifle can do 4 wounds max. So that means 2 of them can kill Gilliman. I think he's 8 wounds. Perfect roll scenario. But the point is, now if you had, say, 6 of them in the back, or 2 units of 10 with 3 each, something like that, maybe give them the ignore cover, little upgrade on the one of them, or, on the unit. Pretty powerful. I haven't looked at Vigilus much. That I'm not 100% sure what the Cataphren like formation is, but there's one for the robots. People seem to think it was really good. I didn't feel that way because it was like turn your weapons into assault weapons for a command point. So pay a command point to put people in the formation, and then pay a command point to make your Castellan robots guns assault. I guess that's potentially good because if they got out deployed and you had to move in that first turn, it'd be nice to still hit on the 4s instead of the instead of 5s for moving with a heavy weapon. Also, with the price drop in destroyers, I didn't add up what the exact cheapest unit of them would be, but having a unit of them near the robots, there's that stratagem to give them both +1 to hit, which is super good because that makes the robots hit on 3s, and the destroyers overcharge plasma guns with no risk of dying. So it's super, super good. Fun fact, if you're Graia and you overcharge your plasma gun, you still get to roll the 6 up to not die. So that's always fun when that happens. I had 2 plasma gun Vanguard guys, both overcharge at Magnus charging, both die, and then rolled double 6s. So they both just stood there and died to Magnus gloriously in hand-to-hand combat. But it was still pretty funny. The other one is that there's a thing where you can give a unit of Castellan robots +3 to the charge. Now, I think they dropped the fist 10 points only, but they definitely also dropped their flamer. So I don't know if the flamer's 12 inches though. So if you were Lucius and you dropped in like a 6-man, I'd probably still go like 2 or 3, whatever. I don't know. So here's the options. You got your Castellan robots, 2 to 6, however many you want, double fist, and flamethrower or phosphor blaster, depending on which one's cheaper, what you want to do. They drop in. Pretty positive this works. Haven't double checked it. End of the movement phase. If you have a good target for your flamer, that's not the people you want to charge, flame them, burn them. Now there's a command point or a stratagem in this formation to give them +3 to their charge. Now they only need a 6 on 2 dice with a potential command point reroll. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Now I'm thinking, though, if you don't want to shoot at the end of the movement phase, I should check. Binaric Overdrive, I think it's called. Fun fact, if you are starting this army, try to memorize your stratagems names and not just call them things like I call them, like +1 to hit stratagem and whatever, teleport. Like, because then it makes it hard to actually look them up when somebody asks you, like, oh, can I see that? And you go, yeah, hold on, let me get that for you. Okay, never mind. Binaric. So this works perfect. Okay. So, big unit, Castellan robots, in that formation, Lucius, Forge World, drop them in, 1 command point. You're using 1 command point for the formation, 1 command point for the Legio Teleportarium from Lucius. Drop them in, shoot your flamethrowers, whoom. Use a command point or 2, I can't remember how many it was, in Vigilus formation, 3 inches to your charge. Use another command point if you have to make that charge. Then you can use a command point to put binaric override. Use a stratagem at the end of any phase to change the protocol of one of your units, and it can't be changed again. You'll use this at the end of the shooting phase? No, you'll use this at the end of the charge phase if you make the charge and you need to fight twice. Because the Castellan robots with fists, nobody's ever played these before in the history of this game, but they can have double power fists. It makes them strength 10, -3, flat 3 damage with 3 attacks apiece, hitting on 4s. And when they're in Conquer protocol, they cannot shoot, but can fight twice in each fight phase instead of only once. I believe this will be like Khorne Berserkers, where they will fight twice in a row when they charge, unless the other opponent has a strike first mechanic. So at strength 10, if you had 6 of them, be 18 attacks, hit 9 times, probably wound 6 or 7. If you had 18 wounds maybe through on something, pretty smashy. Only use that though, only switch them to that if you think you need the double fight. Like if you charged into like a Magnus or Materion or a Knight or something, or maybe you don't really see a lot of value for your shoulder gun for the rest of the battle, that would be a reason to do that. If not, keep them in the fighty mode. So super happy with chapter approved 2018. Go ahead and log on to Facebook. You can pretty much find every single point value you want. If you're a Tyrannid player, you're going to be super happy if you're not following the generic Hive Guard spam, Hive Tyrant, Hive Guard spam. All those other monsters are getting dropped in points. So my 10 Carnifex, 3 Harpy army might actually show up someday. I gotta get to work on it at some point. Deathwatch units go down. Pretty much anything in power armor is going down a point here and there. But a lot of weapons went down too, so I haven't done full army lists added up. But you'll start to just see there's, you know, a couple points here and there off weapon upgrades, but then you realize, oh, I had 5 of those in my army. All of a sudden that's an extra 20 points, and now, you know, that's an extra Devastator's plasma gun or whatever. So super good. Adeptus Mechanicus wins chapter approved, according to me, a person on the internet. Please subscribe. We got a Kickstarter coming soon, January 1st I'm shooting for, possibly pushed slightly back, but January for sure. Kickstarter for my ghost paintbrushes. They are right here. I've been using them almost exclusively for months since I got them. They're holding pretty nice tips. They're going to be about $3-ish a piece. Probably, maybe I don't know, probably around $3 a piece, maybe $4 on Kickstarter. But if you buy more, I can lower the price because of the way ordering giant things, or, you know, ordering quantities works. You get a discount if you can order more. So if I can sell more, I can get them lower priced. But we're going to be doing that on Kickstarter. We got Instagram below. We got links to products I use and like. We got my eBay store. I'm selling my Skaven. And that's about it. And just a fun little fact, if you stayed all the way to the end, there is a Kickstarter, totally unrelated to chapter approved in Adeptus Mechanicus. There's a Kickstarter going on right now for a halfling army, both a halfling army and an undead halfling army. And I'm having a really hard time not backing it because I love halflings in Warhammer Fantasy. But so go check that out if you want to laugh at all the hilarious little halflings. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.